Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for today's call with LNI Secretary Jerry Oleksiak and UC Benefits Policy Director Susan Dickinson, who we hope will be joining us shortly. I'm Teresa Elliott, Deputy Communications Director for Labor and Industry. Please submit your questions by clicking the chat icon, the blue thought bubble, at the bottom of your screen. Please include your name and media outlet, followed by your question. In the interest of time, you'll be limited to one question, but time permitting, we'll open up the call for a second round. You may submit any follow-up questions to us at dlipress@pa.gov, and we'll address them after the call. For your awareness, this call is being recorded. If you do not consent to being recorded, please hang up now. Following the call, a link to the recording will be provided to the media outlets that participated today. We'll get started with comments from Secretary Jerry Oleksiak. Secretary?
Thank you, Teresa, and I see Susan has joined us, so thank you, Susan. And thank you to the media people who are with us today as well. Let me provide the numbers as we normally do. Since March 15th, when the mitigation efforts began, we've paid out more than $28 billion, with a B, dollars in benefits. That's $5.25 billion from our regular UC program, close to $16 billion from the federal pandemic unemployment program. That's the extra $600 that was ended July 25th. $5.1 billion from PUA, the pandemic unemployment assistance program. $297 million from the pandemic emergency unemployment compensation program. That's the federal extended benefits. $69.5 million from Pennsylvania's extended benefits program, and $1.5 billion, and I think this is the first time we're giving you this figure, $1.5 billion from the lost wages assistance program. Last week, we released information that our unemployment rate in Pennsylvania, fortunately, had fallen by more than 2 percentage points to 10.3%. And while we know that is a significant number of Pennsylvanians that still remain unemployed, that drop is a sign that the economy is continuing to recover, and that's a good thing for everyone. On our UC Service Center, our staff has been more than doubled from 775 employees. We are currently at 1,640. That staff has worked over 310,000 total hours. So it's 310,369 total overtime hours since March 15th. And we have been able to respond to over 2 million emails, phone calls, live chats, and virtual assistants. And we, as you know, are doing everything we can to improve on that. Our response time, our numbers that we have responded to are improving, and we will continue to make that a priority to make sure that every Pennsylvanian that is eligible for benefits gets them. We have some important updates related to PUA, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, and the measures that we are taking to prevent fraud. As you know, fraudulent claims with the PUA program were detected within the first few weeks that it was established. And we have been working closely with the U.S. attorneys, the Pennsylvania Attorney General, and other state and federal partners to identify the individuals who are filing fraudulent claims. These individuals have been using previously stolen personal information through data breaches that occurred outside the state of Pennsylvania to file for PUA using stolen identities. This fraud is being committed in many states all across the country by a whole range of perpetrators. Since this fraud was first detected in Pennsylvania, we implemented several anti-fraud and identity verification measures, and subsequently saw a drop in new PUA claims that can be attributed to fewer fraudsters applying for PUA in Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, during the last week, we saw a sudden surge in new PUA claims, with many of the claims being filed from out of state, which is one of the signs that we look for. Over the past few weeks, our new rate for PUA claims have been steady at about 5,000 per day. And during last week's surge, we saw more than 20,000 filed on Friday alone. As soon as this surge was detected, L&I staff was in contact with our law enforcement partners and met with our third-party vendor, Geographic Solutions Incorporated, to develop more and stronger identity verification methods. We are continuing to accept applications for the PUA program, but new payouts, and this is important to distinguish, new payouts are being postponed until the new identity verification methods are implemented. PUA claimants who applied prior to this issue are unaffected, as are claimants of other unemployment compensation programs run by labor and industry. We know that PUA is a lifeline for many Pennsylvania families, and rest assured that we are doing everything we can to keep the delay in new claim payments to a minimum. We do have an obligation to those whose benefits are being delayed. We have an obligation as well, a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that the taxpayer money that we are using is spent appropriately. We are continuing that partnership I mentioned with the U.S. Attorney's Office in Philadelphia, the Pennsylvania Attorney General's Office, the Pennsylvania Treasury, U.S. Bank, and others on this ongoing criminal investigation. We encourage everyone to go to uc.pa.gov/fraud to find the list of scam warning signs, details on how to report fraud, and instructions for individuals to return any fraudulent benefits they receive. We move on to the trust fund. Pennsylvania's Unemployment Compensation Trust Fund balance as of Friday, September 18th, was $84,864,200, and this is from the U.S. Treasury site. Between March 15th and September 18th of this year, more than $28 billion in total unemployment benefits have been paid to claimants. And while the majority of those benefits were paid with federal dollars, Pennsylvania has so far paid $5,250,617,324. Let me mention that again. $5,250,617,324 in regular state unemployment compensation out of the trust fund. At this point, we are securing federal loans to bolster that trust fund. We completed all the prerequisite work with the U.S. Department of Labor a few weeks ago, and we have begun that process of borrowing. And again, it's like a line of credit that we tap into those dollars as we need them. Let me provide an update on the Lost Wages Assistance Program. This program, which is the extra $300 a week, ended effective the week of Saturday, September 5th. But we will be continuing to make retroactive LWA payments for the claim weeks of August 1st through September 5th to those eligible for the foreseeable future. We've already paid out more than $1.5 billion of the $2.8 billion we received from FEMA for this program. Many applicants, including those who are automatically enrolled through participation in PUA, have received their benefits. However, because FEMA will not be allocating any more funding, regardless of the number of qualified applicants, we are urging anyone who is partially or fully unemployed due to COVID-19 and who hasn't already applied for the LWA benefits to apply as soon as you can. That's at www.uc.pa.gov/cert, uc.pa.gov/cert. Under federal guidelines, and remember, this is a federal emergency program, not a traditional unemployment program, only individuals who are fully or partially unemployed due to COVID-19 disruptions may apply for this benefit. To qualify, the LWA program also requires that eligible individuals must have a benefit rate and dependence allowance totaling $100 or more per week in benefits, and they must receive a benefit payment for each week the program runs from one of the following qualifying programs: regular UC, the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation, Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, Pennsylvania's Extended Benefits, Shared Work or Short-Time Compensation, and the Trade Readjustment Allowance. Individuals receiving benefits from these programs, with the exception of PUA and shared work, will need to apply for the lost wages assistance by certifying one time only that their unemployment is due to COVID-19. Employers in a shared work program provide the required certification on behalf of their participating employees. Claimants who need to complete the certification process should go to that website as soon as possible, uc.pa.gov/cert. Individuals who may qualify for the program but have not yet received payment for an improved week from a qualifying program should still apply as soon as possible. At the time the benefits are paid from a qualifying program to an individual for any of the approved dates, the LWA payment will follow 1 week later if the individual has completed their certification. For updates on the program, we encourage people to go to uc.pa.gov. The last thing I want to mention is we will be doing another town hall, our 17th town hall, this Thursday, September 24th at 1 p.m. People can access this through access.live/PA-labor. That's access.live/PA-labor, or can call 833-380-0719. Now that Susan is with us, we're ready to take questions, and we appreciate your being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that information, Secretary Oleksiak. Now we're going to head into questions, and I remind any reporters that would like to pose questions to our two panelists this afternoon to please submit your name along with your media outlet and then your question. Our first question today comes in from Joe Chevalier of Bucks County Courier-Times. How much of the $2.8 billion from the Lost Wages Assistance Program has been allocated so far? And how many Pennsylvania workers are unemployed as of August?
We have paid 1.5 billion of the 2.8 billion, so there's about half of it left. And we've done that in the 2 weeks or so, give or take, that the program has been running. As far as the number, I don't have an exact number in front of me. I don't know, Susan, if you have that.
I don't know.
Okay, I have that information actually. I don't have the number, but I can say that roughly 6.3% of Pennsylvania's working age population is still unemployed. So our next question is Bill Kibler from the Altoona Mirror. Why did the fraudsters target PUA in particular?
Well, PUA was a federal program, and compared to our traditional unemployment program, it's much easier to apply. The same safeguards that are in place as far as wages being verified and other safeguards in place in the traditional UC system just weren't there in the PUA system. And it's basically self-certifying that you are affected by COVID. And there are some documents that need to be presented to show that you are qualified, but it's not the same as the traditional program. Susan, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
That's correct. Just some of the requirements were so atypical from what you see in regular unemployment. One of the big ways that this is different is when it comes to backdating claims. When it comes to backdating claims in regular unemployment, we have to speak with the individual, see if they have a qualifying reason, and then we decide whether or not they're backdated. Whereas the federal government said for PUA, you have to backdate everyone to the last date that they were working. You must. So we're not looking for good cause. We're not looking to see why someone delayed filing their claim. We're just automatically backdating them. So our system was doing that for a long time, which made it susceptible to fraud because then individuals were getting paid for multiple weeks at once. So Pennsylvania, as well as a lot of other states, have now shut off that functionality in their system and had seen fraud go down quite a bit after that was done.
And this is an excellent place to remind folks yet again that this is a national issue. It is not just a Pennsylvania issue. And we are learning from other states. They are learning from us what we need to do to combat this. We are hoping that the new steps that we will be taking will put an end to it or certainly slow it down. But this is a national program, and once again, the breach was not connected to Pennsylvania's labor and industry system at all.
Next, we have Allentown Morning Call's Peter Hall, and he asks, is there a cutoff date for new claims that will be postponed as a result of the new identity verification measures?
There's no cutoff date, but I can tell you we began working Friday and worked through the weekend with our vendor, with our IT staff to see what we need to do to get these programs in place. So we will do it as quickly and as effectively as possible. We understand the lifeline that PUA is for so many of our fellow citizens, and we want to pay these benefits to people that are entitled. Again, let me remind everyone that people who have been receiving benefits will continue to receive benefits. This is, as of the end of last week, the new benefits that we receive. There will be a delay until we can get those fraud detection and prevention efforts in place, but we are doing all we can to do that as quickly and as effectively as possible. And as soon as we have them in place and we can say that we are beginning to those payments again, we will certainly let everyone know that.
Next, Lauren Rosenblatt asks, can you share more about the identity verification methods being put into place?
The short answer to that is no. We are not going to talk about what we have done, what we are doing. We don't want to tip our hand. This is an ongoing criminal investigation. And as with any criminal investigation, we're not going to talk about the processes that we're using to stop it. So we will not be talking specifically about the programs we're putting into place.
Following the next question, it looks like we're moving into our second round of questions. So I encourage anyone who has additional questions at this time to please submit them using the chat feature at the bottom of your screen. Joe Napsha from the Tribune Review asks, is there any estimate on the number of people in the state who have been sent their LWA benefits?
I don't know, Susan, can you speak to that?
We just have the number of payments, not the number of individuals. Generally, each person would receive 6 weeks of benefits, of LWA benefits, if that's where they had, regular eligibility underlying that. So you can, we can look at the payments and kind of divide it by 6 and assume that that's as many as we have. However, there are certainly some people who didn't receive payment for all the weeks. Maybe they were employed some of those weeks and only unemployed for certain weeks, so it wouldn't be an exact figure.
Okay, we're going to pause for a moment just to see if there's any additional questions to come in. If not, if anyone has any additional follow-ups, you can please submit them to us at dlipress@pa.gov. And we'll just hold for one moment and see if anything else, and yes, it did. So we have Lauren Rosenblatt from Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. You mentioned a surge in PUA applications on Friday. What about Saturday, Sunday, and today? How many applications came in then?
We actually had a surge on Thursday and Friday of last week, and they have declined, but still, given the fact that our unemployment rate has declined, the PUA has been in place for as long as it has, so many of these applications are from out of state that we felt that we had to do something, and that's why we're doing it. So it has declined from the high of Thursday and Friday, but still enough that we are concerned.
Peter Hall from the Morning Call asks, if claimants did not certify for Lost Wages Assistance Program while filing biweekly claims for August 1st through September 5th, can they do that retroactively?
They can do that, and we would, and Susan, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. Actually, Susan, why don't you answer the question? That would be better.
Sure, they can, and there is a button available for them when they do file that they can do it themselves. If the button were to become unavailable because maybe they're off their biweekly filing cycle, they can then contact staff just by sending an email, or if they wanted to call, they could do that. And staff have a way to make sure that that switch is on for them so that they do receive payments for those weeks. And we'll be able to do that for quite a bit. Of course, the funds are limited to $2.8 billion. So as long as we don't exceed that, individuals can still receive those payments. But also FEMA will be declaring the end dates of this program. They have certain ways when they have their disaster periods that they have different dates that they look at. And once they declare the end of the current period, there's a 90-day period in which you can still make payments and still adjust things. And then there will be a date at one point where FEMA does not allow us to make those payments any longer. So for now, it's still available. It'll still be available for about another 3 months or so. We're waiting to find out the exact dates from FEMA so that we can advertise that.
Bill Kibler from the Altoona Mirror asked, have there been any arrests anywhere for PUA fraud?
There have been some arrests. There were some press releases from the U.S. Attorney in Pittsburgh, I know, and some others. So, Teresa, you may have those. There were some arrests made through inmates who have tapped into it fraudulently. And again, this is all part of the public record. But anything else I'm unaware of. And Susan, you may have, not Susan, I'm sorry, Teresa, you may have access to some of the press releases that we had that we can make available.
Okay, I do not have that information at my fingertips, but if the reporter wants to email us after the call, we will be glad to forward them any releases we have already issued. Next, we have Joe Chevalier from the Bucks County Courier-Times. What is the, let me scroll up. I think there was one more first. What is the date the new PUA payouts will be delayed? If someone applied Tuesday or Wednesday of last week for the first time, will their payments be delayed, and for how long?
Susan, can you speak to that? I know definitely Thursday's payments, and I can speak to how long. As we said previously, we don't have a date certain yet. We are doing all we can to quickly and effectively get these programs in place that we need to stop the fraud. But we are doing that with a recognition that people rely on these benefits. So we are doing, again, all we can as quickly as we can to get people the benefits they need. Susan, can you speak to the precise cutoff date?
As you mentioned, Thursday was when we really started looking at claims. That's not to say we may not decide to reach back another day or two, just to give them an extra check and make sure things are okay. But when it comes to processing of the claims, we've been doing identity verification manually this entire pandemic. During the PUA program, we've been having individuals upload their information to their dashboard and then send us an email in order to clear their claim and receive payments. And it is a lot to do manually, so we've had a little bit of IT help in getting some of that looked at and released. And we're looking at more permanent solutions. So we hope to have something very soon so that then it could be automated and won't have to wait for an individual to look at it. Individuals can upload their information and get cleared on their own and then proceed with their claim.
Okay, Secretary Oleksiak and Susan, it looks like we're just about out of questions today. We have one final one from the Tribune Review's Joe Napsha. How many LWA claims have been paid to date?
So far, we have made a little over 5 million payments on LWA.
Okay, I think that is all the time we have. Does Secretary Oleksiak or Susan have any final thoughts for our reporters today?
Nothing. Just we again, as I've emphasized, we take the fraud very seriously, but we also recognize that there are people who need these benefits. So we are doing everything we can to get people the benefits they need and still take care of the fiduciary responsibilities we have with the dollars that we have access to. So thank you for being here and thank you for your questions.
Thank you for those final thoughts, Secretary Oleksiak. That's all the time we have for today. Please email our communications office at dlipress@pa.gov with additional questions. Thank you so much for joining us and stay well.
Thank you.
Thank you.